Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the semester of Watch This. I'm Brian Bauer with my co-host Ian Popovich, and today we're going to be covering a massive genres, including animated action, dramas, family movies, and along with some more action, a lot of action today. Jumping right into it. Our first preview of the day is Alita: Battle Angel, and I know you're super excited for this movie.
So you have no idea, man.
Just dive right in. Dive right in.
So Alita: Battle Angel is based off of a actual manga series produced by author Yukito Kishiro, and he did several books on the series. And it does follow the plot that a lot of us have been kind of learning about every so often with these, with the trailers going up for Alita. And the thing that gets me so hyped about this is James Cameron, who is the producer for this film, he is doing everything he possibly can to promote this film. This is his baby. This is something that he's been wanting for several years, and. One of the things that I kind of wanted to mention again was that he's basing it off of the 4 books. Okay. So it goes into a series of events, and he's going to make the 4 books basically the whole thing.
Okay, so he's putting 4 books into one movie.
Oh yes, and this is still, and I know we've heard a lot of movies doing this before and it not working very well. But this is actually very good for manga series because they're not very long in their storytelling. So smashing all 4 of those books is actually going to work for the film. And chapters 3 and 4 are actually going to take place in that whole battle scene that we see in the trailer, where she's like murdering.
It kind of looks like a death race.
Yeah,
from that movie.
Yeah, it is about like mostly a death race, and basically the whole kind of short summary about it is that she's spoilers if I ever wanted to mention
our first official spoiler alert of the year.
So she basically is taken away from the places that built her, and she is like a prodigy in her own design, and she was scrapped because she was too powerful, and essentially losing her memory, she has to try and figure out who she is while also being hunted down by the people who wanted her scrapped in the first place. And it's going to go huge into everything. And the one thing I would honestly say, to finish off what I had to say, is that if this movie succeeds, James Cameron will want to do more manga series, more Japanese titles, and a lot of people are going to want to keep it going. So
okay, really quick. I have no idea about this movie until I saw it. Didn't really have an interest in it. After the trailer, I was intrigued with what I saw, but I felt like the trailer told me too much. I felt like I watched the movie. But moving on from that, I know you have high expectations for that movie, and you're going to love every minute of it.
Oh, yes.
Let's move to a movie with probably low expectations.
Yeah.
Happy Death Day to You. How do you feel about it?
Okay, so when I learned that the second movie was coming out, honestly, and apologies to everyone out there who might have seen it and enjoyed it, I didn't care. I didn't care for it. Honestly, I looked at it and I was like, oh, good, another slasher film. That's copying Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and was like, whatever.
Yeah. It's a bit of a cash grab.
Yeah.
The first movie, it was innovative, it was intuitive, it was a good movie. I'll give it that. But you don't need a sequel telling the same story. It's not needed. I watched the trailer. It looks like an edgier version of the original, where there's higher stakes, or she doesn't care in some parts. She's not trying to find the killer in some parts. It looks like she's just freaking out in some of her lives.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. It's not needed. I'm so upset about it.
The thing is,
I gotta calm down.
Yeah. But in the movie, basically, they have this whole thing where they're now introducing her friends into the scenario. So her boyfriend from the original
friends
film,
can die,
and her one, and apparently his roommate, I don't know. Like,
I
he's
don't
this
know.
stoner kid that just
Yeah.
kind of pops in and it's just like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have
Yeah.
speculations of it
Yeah.
not doing so well,
Yeah.
but
Everyone's got baby masks now too. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Honestly, I just don't know.
yeah. But when we return, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the How to Train Your Dragon 3 sequel and Lego Movie 2.
Another sequel.
Yeah, another sequel.
Another sequel.
Stay tuned. You're watching Watch This. Welcome back to Watch This. Right now we're going to talk about How to Train Your Dragon 3. Bryant, so the third installment of this.
Third installment.
So what are your thoughts on this whole cash grab?
Well, I was against the sequel, but they really surprised me with it. It wasn't terrible. It got good reviews. People liked it. It had heart. It had fun. And that's what it looks like the third one's going with, too. The third one's coming with.
Yeah.
So I'm not completely against this one, but I'm still skeptical. I'm not counting it out just yet.
How do you feel about the fact that they're going to introduce a love interest for Toothless, even though, like, most of the whole, like, first two films, the TV shows, all that, everything has stipulated that he is the last Night Fury in existence. Oh, never mind. We were just hiding this one away for a little bit. It's fine.
Well, what they said in the trailer, they didn't call her a Night Fury. They called her a quote-unquote Light Fury because she was white instead of black. So I mean, I guess it works.
Original names, like.
I mean, it's a kids movie. They have to add some sort of elements. You saw in the trailer that it had like comedy in it for like kids, like. Light Fury knocks, I think his name's Flynn, right?
Yeah.
The main character knocks.
Our main character, that's Hiccup.
Okay.
Yeah, the main
okay,
character's
my
Hiccup.
bad. But knocks them off Night Fury, and then the dragons play around. You know, I think they introduced it just for the sake of having some kids content in there.
I think I don't know. Like, part of me thinks it's going to get a little bit more kid friendly. I mean. Obviously, with a love interest involved, we might see some character development between that. And apparently how, I don't know, apparently there being more Night Furies possibly in the universe of their choosing. I mean, that's cool and all. I definitely noticed that mostly through the trailers. One of the things I noticed is that the comedy factor is going to be like Toothless making a dummy of himself and, you know, taking advice from Hiccup on how to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, all right,
yeah, whatever.
All right, it's for kids, so you know, I guess I can get behind it.
But like the premise of the trailer is that this naval force is coming to steal all the dragons, and I was actually surprised on how heartfelt the trailer was, and I was really curious. I'm like, how are they going to do this? They introduced so many different things. The dragons going to this different world to live, stopping the naval fleet that's coming to take all the dragons. So what I liked about the trailer is what I didn't like about the trailer. They told us too much. They showed us too much, which is such a theme in trailers today.
Yeah, the thing that I'm more interested in is like, I kind of don't really have much of a memory of the second one, But I'm wondering, like, didn't his dad die? So, like, how is that going to affect things? His mother's still there, and I feel like the naval thing is just a callback to the second movie. I'm not sure.
It might be. They've had so much. They've had series after series after short like, that you've mentioned before. It's hard to keep track. But moving on to another animated sequel, let's go to the Lego Movie 2.
Oh man, you know, watching the first one, you know, I still watch it over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it ever came on television or it was on Netflix, mm-hmm. I'd take a Saturday off and just watch it. I have no problem watching it. And I feel like this is gonna be interesting because this trailer didn't really show me too much in a way. Like
I disagree.
Yeah, I know you disagree.
It showed too much. It showed me the movie again.
Because like at the end of the first film, we ended up getting introduced to the fact that his dad ended up letting his little sister go down and play with him and introduce the children blocks. Mm-hmm. And apparently that's, you know, no longer as serious as a factor. Mm-hmm. But like apparently like the little sister got, I don't know, more creative with her builds. Yeah. Because now she still has the girly stuff, but mm-hmm. it's, you know, more well-rounded, mm-hmm. You know, Lego designs.
Yeah. But I see that, and what I really liked about the first one is that you're in this Lego universe, and all of a sudden there's a jump to real life. There's a jump to like humanity, and that caught me really off guard with the first one. And that's what I liked about how the first one ended, with like a jump and like a jump to realism. So, and I thought it was such a good place to leave it. And if you want to do Lego Batman spin-offs and Lego Ninjago spin-offs for the sake of the kids, that's fine, I get it. But there's no need to make another one of these because the story was already told.
I'm already gonna disappoint you because you remember Playmobiles with the more designed characters? Yeah, well they're coming out with their own movie now.
My gosh.
So that's gonna be
Why do we need toy movies? Why do we need? We have video game movies with Wreck-It Ralph. We have emoji movies. We have toy movies. Let's have an original thought in Hollywood.
Well, because here's the thing: Toy Story did a good job, and you know,
and we're getting another one of those.
Yeah. But when we come back to watch this, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Aquaman and A Dog's Way Home. Stay tuned. You're watching Watch This.
There's one sound in the morning that everyone hates. But it brings you to one of the most important decisions of your day. Breakfast. Some will decide to skip it, but studies show that eating breakfast to start off your day can help improve your memory and increase test scores.
I got a 35 out of 100, another failed test.
And it can also help keep you awake and focused throughout the day. So when you wake up and have that important decision to make, the choice should be clear. Remember to eat breakfast each and every morning.
Can't wait to have a great start to this day.
Welcome back to Watch This. This is now our review section of the show. I am with Brandon Rossi and Luke Santucci, and we will be starting off this section with Aquaman. So Luke, tell me what your initial thoughts on the movie.
So I actually really like the movie. It had a good beginning, which I know you do not agree with, and a strong end. In the middle was honestly not good at all. I looked at it more of as a rom-com, and it was one of the cheesiest parts of the movie ever. They went on this whole quest to find the trident in the middle, and there were all these really, really corny jokes, but overall, the beginning was great. There was a lot of action. The CGI was amazing. I thought the battle between Aquaman and Ocean Master, which he wasn't Ocean Master then, was amazing in the beginning. And it just led up to the epic fight in the end between all of the different underwater tribes. And I just thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, and really to piggyback off of that, the thing that really got to me was the action. I was watching the screen and I'm thinking to myself, This is so ridiculous that it's just awesome. And now everyone's going to make the inevitable comparison. Does this hold a candle with Marvel? And I counter with this. Stop comparing DC to Marvel. Let DC be its own separate thing, because no one can be the next DC, no one can be the next Marvel, no one can be the next DC, no one can be the next anything. Just be the first whatever it is. So at that point, you know, taking the DC Marvel comparison aside, I think it was a good step up from other DC movies such as Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman.
Sorry, Brian, but one of the things that I honestly really enjoyed about Aquaman was that the action definitely got me, but it was definitely the visuals. I don't know about the rest of you, but I kind of got a whole Avatar vibe from it, because how brightly colorful it was. Because, you know, when you're on Pandora, they had all those lush, colorful, because it's an alien planet, so of course it is. But we don't know the bottom of our ocean, so they had creative freedom to go as far beyond as human possible. And I honestly thought that it was really well thought out how they would showcase everything, how it would be revealed to us throughout the film. But Luke, what are your thoughts about how it was presented to you? Like, how did you feel about the whole entire thing visually as well?
So I was pretty hesitant actually going into the movie, because I wasn't sure how they were going to portray everything being underwater, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, and I did get that Avatar feel. I think they created a world in itself, and it really, you know, made you wonder what else they could do with this universe.
Yeah, other than the beginning, I really liked the movie. Overall, I thought it was a good movie.
Okay, well, then I have to agree then that I honestly liked the film as well. So, switching topics, Corey, you reviewed A Dog's Way Home, and I kind of want to know, what can you do with a dog film?
See, that's the thing with this movie. Basically, every plot for a dog movie has already been done, so there's not really anything this movie can do. It's a lot like Homeward Bound, except it wasn't really focused on the dog's journey home. There were a lot of, like, plot cul-de-sacs and little, like, stops along the way that made for more interesting movies. Like, there's a point where, like, a cougar gets shot by some hunters, and this dog decides to raise its cub as its, like, puppy, and that's like a whole thing for the next like 15 minutes of the I'm not. And it's not a real cougar either. It's a CGI cougar.
Is it
looks
bad?
like it
Is
walked
it a bad
straight
CGI
out of
cougar?
Walking with Beasts.
Oh my gosh.
It's very noticeable that it's not there.
Okay, so we're talking like a hugely over-fantasized film about a dog.
Oh, this dog is lost in the wilderness for 2.5 years before it gets home.
And it befriends these cougars. It becomes a pack or part
Just
of this
one cougar.
Just
Oh,
one.
okay.
Just one. Just one.
It also meets a homeless person, and it becomes friends with the homeless person. Then the homeless person dies. But this is only after he chained the dog to him, so the next 5 minutes are this dog slowly starving to death because it can't break the chain attached to this dead hobo.
This movie is not sounding pleasant at all.
It's all over the place.
It sounds like a dog's way to PTSD. Honestly.
Seriously, like, was there anything unique about the movie? Was there anything that it might have done differently?
They put this dog through a lot of physical trauma because towards the end of the movie, it gets hit by a car.
Oh, lovely.
And it spends like until the end of the movie limping around on one of its front legs. Aww. So I just had to wonder if they actually broke that dog's leg or not.
No.
Or if they trained it to just walk around.
If they did. I'm calling PETA.
Well, if I remember, this was made by the same company that made like
A Dog's Purpose.
A Dog's
and
Purpose,
there
was a little
dogs.
controversy there. Yeah, they almost drowned the dog.
There's so many dog movies.
So I don't know, maybe they did break this dog's leg.
Oh my God!
I don't think they
what-
broke the dog's leg.
Do you think it deserves a theatrical treatment, like, or should it have been left to air on Lifetime? Like,
This is like
these are
direct to DVD Lifetime gutter trash.
things- Oh my!
This is created to sell to like housewives and like moms because they love pets and dog movies. They like being sad about dogs.
The way I'm hearing this film, it sounds like this is like a whole new film to basically like dare your friends into watching and see how long they can last before they make an aw noise, like, oh, that poor dog.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's the only kind of awe they're going to be making.
yeah. So we've covered our dogs now. When we come back from the break, we'll be covering Glass and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You've been watching Watch This.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Watch This. We will now be talking about the movie Glass. We have with us Brandon Rossai. What did you think of the movie?
You know, with the thing with M. Night Shyamalan movies nowadays is when there's no hype around his movies, he does very, very well. Such as Split, the second movie in this trilogy. When there's a lot riding on him, such as Glass, it doesn't end up as well. Now, with M. Night Shyamalan, the main thing that you expect, twists and turns. To me, the twist here was stupid, you know, and I'm going to put up a little spoiler alert. Everybody dies.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So here, what happened is the Beast gets shot, but he doesn't survive like he does in Split. Bruce Willis drowns in a puddle.
Oh,
And yeah. Take that
that's
as
a way to go out.
take that as you will. And Samuel L. Jackson gets up out of his wheelchair, falls over, and dies.
Okay, so we've got probably two movies that led to a climactic showdown that had three extremely great actors in it. And so far what you're telling me is that it was the most underwhelming film that had the most blah of endings.
Well, it's not as bad as other M. Night Shyamalan movies. I will give it that, but that's not saying much, especially given the crap that he's produced, that he's put out, such as, I know it's not in the same genre, but The Last Airbender.
That was
I know.
That was a travesty.
But we're not going to go there.
We don't touch that film.
No. But I think that this movie, for what it was, it couldn't live up to the hype. That was the biggest issue. Everyone came out of Split. I think the twist there was that it's a sequel to Unbreakable.
It's in this universe. It's in the Unbreakable universe.
Yes. And the twist here, well, everyone dies, and then another spoiler. If you're still watching this and haven't seen it, I don't know why you are still watching this, but the main girl in this movie is the bad guy, and she's she's doing this corrupt experiment to prove that supervillains and superheroes just don't exist. So with that in mind, you know, I've seen it done better in other movies. You know, it's James McAvoy, Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis, three prominent names in Hollywood.
Some of the greatest actors out right now.
And they put it to waste.
Put it to waste.
Just based off of the generic, stereotypical thriller, suspense, whatever you want to categorize this movie as, it just falls into bleh, mediocrity at best.
Yeah. So it wasn't the actors, it was the story.
Yes, and that's the main thing that I look at, the story. Does the story execute? And with a movie like Glass, I was worried that the hype was going to be a little too much, and guess what? It was.
Yeah, I feel as if that a lot of things that M. Night Shyamalan does is very underwhelming, but we're going to go ahead and switch topics to a Spider-Verse. Chris, what do you have to say about this? Where is he supposed to?
You know, Ian, I was really hesitant going into this movie because I thought there have been so many Spider-Man movies, and, you know, we already have Tom Holland in the live-action Marvel adaptation of Spider-Man, so I thought this would just sort of be a tired, recycled idea. This time, though, instead of Peter Parker, it's Miles Morales, who is the Spider-Man character, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think this might have been the best Spider-Man movie yet, one of the best Marvel movies I've ever seen. I don't know where I rank it so far, but I was amazed coming out of the theater.
When I saw the trailers for it, my brother was so excited for this movie, and I was like, nah, it's an animated Spider movie. It's not going to be great. I was shocked seeing that movie. The animation style was amazing. The story was amazing. There's honestly, maybe it was a little corny here and there, but other than that, I really can't pick out something majorly wrong with this movie.
Yeah, and coming out of it, I thought, okay, you know, this is a story that we have seen before. I'm going to try my best to not give any spoiler alerts because I really do think everybody needs to go and see this movie at some point. But Miles Morales, he's bitten by a radioactive spider. He becomes Spider-Man. He's taken, a mentor takes him under his wing. He loses his mentor, and then chaos ensues involving alternate dimensions. We've seen it before, but like you said, the animation style is just spectacular in this.
They actually brought in a studio to do the animation. Sony didn't do the animation themselves. They brought someone in, and what they did with the animation, it wasn't normal. It was made up of little dots to make it look like a comic book when you're watching the movie.
So in terms of this, now again, I'm gonna have to be one of those people that has to see it because unfortunately I have not been able to see it. But do you guys feel that due to all the controversy of like other versions of how the Spider-Verse was done, do you think this film really showcased like a good way how it was done, especially since it was a film? Do you think that the Spider-Verse storyline was probably the better one that's been told, or how do you feel about that?
In terms of Spider-Man movies, the story?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really solid, and I think a lot of that comes down to Lord and Miller being involved in the production. These guys do nothing but turn out hits. They worked on the 21 Jump Street movies. They were involved in the first Lego movie, How to Train Your Dragon, and they were fired from Solo, a Star Wars story. That movie probably would have been good if they were allowed to stay on it. But so I think having them involved really elevated the Spider-Verse story to a place that other Spider-Man movies haven't gone before.
And how did you feel about the voice acting performances, like Nick Cage doing the voice of noir Spider-Man? When I was watching trailers, that was probably the one thing that really hooked me into wanting to see this. So how did you feel about all their performances?
I thought the voice acting performances for the most part was great. You mentioned Nick Cage. Mahershala Ali was in the film. He plays Spider-Man's uncle. He gives a great performance. And then Shaquem Moore is the voice of Miles Morales. Hadn't heard much from him, but he did a great job as well.
All right, well, I hope to eventually see the film, but that'll have to conclude it for this episode. I'm joined by Bryant Bauer, Chris, and Rossai, and I want to thank you all, and I hope to see you again. And remember to watch this.